I'm LaRie.
And I'm Nick B.
Listen, we're just two single girls from the City of Roses discussing all things love, lust, and perception.
And roses are a symbol of all things beautiful about love.
But as you know, love can get a little dirty, so we're here to talk about it.
Dirty Roses Podcast starts now.
Hey, I'm LaRie.
And I'm Nick B.
And welcome to Dirty Roses Podcast. Now, today we're talking about something that we know absolutely nothing about because we don't have the parts for this.
Right.
But we get lots of questions when we talk about love, lust, and relationships and perceptions and all those things about men's perspectives. We get conversations and questions about the thought process, gender roles, being masculine. I get called masculine all the time. So
you do wear the pants in most relationships.
The one. So today we are joined by two amazing men. I had a conversation with one, Drew. Hello, how are you doing?
Good.
And he shared some really great insight that I thought would be great for the show. Okay. And so I'm actually going to pass the buck to you to introduce your friend of over 20 years.
Yay. Yes. All right. Well, we are pleased to have Mr. Drew Dukeshire here on the show with us today. We go back to high school, and I remember one of my first interactions was homecoming. I remember the cheerleaders, so we supported the guys when they were on the field, and I got to wear your jersey for the day. It was probably just because I was a bigger cheerleader and needed a bigger size, you feel me? But nonetheless, like, this is a stand-up guy, great athlete. I think everyone who's ever met you has always had, like, really positive things to say, so I was really thrilled and excited to get you on our show today.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And then we also have another guest joining us that was actually referred to us by a mutual friend, Mr. Blaise. He's joining us. He is actually a therapist. And I'm going to let you give a little bit more information specifically about your profession and how you got there.
Okay. All right. So my name is Blaise Harris. I am a licensed clinical mental health counselor here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was a firefighter for 14 years before I left and became a mental health counselor. So my main focus when I do therapy is Black men and first responders, because both of those groups are groups who are not just going to talk to just anybody. You know, we want to be sure that we talk to people who actually understand us and who actually get it. We don't got to explain stuff all the time and over and over and over again. So I became a therapist for us. And so that's what I do. I treat trauma and help folks deal with the stuff that they don't know how to deal with or they are afraid to address.
I love it. Do you see people from out of state as well? Because I know we are always looking for Black male therapists.
No, not at the moment. I want to keep my license. I can't go off those lines.
We're going to need you to get internationally licensed.
So with therapists, actually, you're only able to practice in the state you live in. Is that correct?
No, you can, so if you get licensed in another state, you can practice in that state. Okay. So you'll get several therapists, you know, like from down here, like you might have a therapist who can practice in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and then New York or Virginia, you know, somewhere around those lines.
So because of passing the bar, you have to be certified in the state that you're practicing that in. Okay.
Yep.
Understood.
Yep.
Okay, well, come on out to Oregon. There's a need for you out here.
There is a huge, you get all of these coins out here. I promise you.
Hey, don't y'all threaten me with a good time.
Hey. Some money. I love it. Okay, so Drew, we had a good conversation off camera previously about your history and your story and why you are kind of so passionate about making sure that men have safe spaces and support. And I kind of want to give you a space to kind of just share what you feel like about your history and where you're at right now.
So if you got to understand, I was in a life trajectory to like go in a certain stratosphere, right? And that ended up going a totally different way. Nope. That spaceship crashed and it was crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I'm in the throes of like the struggle and I'm like 36 years old and I'm really realizing that like, bro, the selfish like mindset that I was living, I actually wasn't even a man. Like I was making decisions based on myself when I had kids. I had people that I was responsible for, and I was still making selfish decisions that only affected me. And I wasn't thinking about the things greater than me. And so then I look back at like the things that I idolized or the men that I looked up to. I was just like, man, there's a point in my life where whether I was 16 and I got my license, I thought I was a man. I might have got some pussy and I was like, oh, I'm definitely a man now.
Made it.
I turned 18 and then 21 and all those things like accumulate. Now you're 25 and you know, this, that, and the third. I got an apartment, you know, so all those things, you accumulate that to saying like, oh, I'm a man. But until you're like ready to decide that you'll make the right choice for the decisions that are going to benefit the people that depend on you, I don't understand that people can say that they're a man until they're ready to make those choices.
And what were some of the characteristics of the people that you idolized back in the day?
You grew up in a single parent home that you don't see a lot of love and you don't see a lot of like just like, I'm talking about that 1970s, 1980s, like these people have been married for 20 years and they're celebrating the silver anniversary, that type of thing. If you don't see that in your household and you got a single parent, you might not see a relationship from your mom forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? You might not see your mom ever date a dude because she's scared to bring that dude to this household. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see broken homes, and I grew up in one, the people that I idolized were the people that made money. Okay. The people that were clouded in the community, the people that were popular, the people that were in a trajectory to like, oh man, excuse my language, the people that were fucking a lot of girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are the things like
absolutely.
Yes.
the best player on the best player on the football team.
Right.
The best player on the basketball team. The D-boy that had the most money and the best car. Those are the things you idolize when you don't have a solid foundation of a man consistently in your life.
Yeah.
So you're searching for it in all different aspects. Whether it's an uncle over here, whether it's a cousin that's getting money, whether it's the best basketball player on another team, and you're just looking at him like, man, that's who I want to be like. And then you don't even understand like the dynamic that person's going through or what it takes for you to be that. But then like, now that I look back at it, like, that's not it.
Right.
Was it like that for you growing up? Did you have a similar experience?
Yeah. And like the thing about it is like the stuff that you was just talking about. It was like you the dudes who's fucking all the girls, who was getting all this, you know, you don't have a positive relationship. You don't see what it looks like. You don't know what love looks like. And like these dudes that we looked up to, that we wanted to be like, they had their shit together either. And if you would have, you know, and that's the thing, if you would ask the people that they was fucking what type of dude they were, they probably tell you today, shit. You know, and for some reason we would think that was who we wanted to be just because they had all these chicks. We're not thinking about all of that. You know, it's so funny, you know, as soon as you start talking about we don't get the idea of what relationships look like. That's a true damn story. I didn't know what a relationship looked like. I can't tell you how many dudes I've seen come to the house, you know, or how many chicks that my cousins would have come over to the house or do all of this kind of stuff. Nothing was ever healthy. I think I had maybe 3 uncles that were married and still are. And everybody else had like, you know, girlfriends and all this kind of stuff that you've seen. Is like, they make babies, don't make families.
Right. So in talking go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was that was the note about masculinity and manhood. It's like, so for both of y'all having been in a single parent home, having these ill-fitted role models, how did that impact how you viewed what being a man was, what your goals were as far as, you know, trying to achieve what that look was? Like, what did you do to try to achieve those?
The difference is that I had some uncles that were like solid married men that worked great jobs and that been married still today, right? But the other cousins and other people that the flash was greater than the substance, I attracted my mind to that because I was so young and I was so immature. Like, so an uncle, great uncle, still married today, great job, successful man, solid character, stand-up guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm 15, that sounds corny. That sounds dumb.
So
That sounds at 9 to 5 at that time when I'm 16, 17 years old. That doesn't. But then when my cousin comes with a stack of money, I don't know where it came from, and he's got some little floozy that he's rolling up with that's probably gonna turn fag in like 2 more days. You know what I'm saying? Like, that looked attractive to me in the onset.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then also you got to understand, like, when you're a good athlete, there's
amazing athlete.
There's a certain trajectory that has for you too.
Right.
And that puts you in a certain lifestyle and category that's like,
I was gonna say
because you played ball in college
Right.
too. I mean, when you say you're an athlete, you're an athlete. You had scholarship. You were an athlete.
yeah. So like that dynamic changes the things too, because then you're celebrated in a way that like also misogynistically makes you, they put you here versus like what actually, they say student athlete, but it's athlete student.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's celebrityism. I mean, like you kind of get this boost of people know my name. I've never met them, but they know me. And
it
so
definitely like fills your ego, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the height of it, she knows like when Benson and Jeff were going at it, and we're in the midst of like Portland athletics. I mean, we're on the superior level of like a lot of things, and so just those things in all, like, it changed the view of like, to me, being the man is like, if you can pay all your bills right now, you can take care of the things that you can take care of. You can set aside a couple of dollars for yourself. You can take your family on a trip, and you don't have to worry about, you won.
Right.
That's success.
A lot of adults view it as, dang, I'm broke, but you really paid all your bills and you're doing good.
I mean, you're like, I mean, the lifestyle that people dream about, that's not reality.
Right.
So for either of you, I mean, understanding that you're able to articulate your thought process from young men to now adult men, was there an actual aha moment or day for you that you were finally like, I get it, this ain't it, and I'm ready to make a change?
I think for me, it was becoming a father. My dad wasn't around, you know, but when I became a dad, I was like, why the hell would no father want to be around their kid? I can't imagine not having my kids or not being in their life in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You know, although, you know, I'm not with their mom anymore, she's remarried and living the best life. We co-parent very well. I get along with her husband, and we're all at the kids' games. And, you know, I want to do that. I want to be there. You know, we have this idea of what a man should be, you know, growing up. And, you know, I think my view of what a man is has changed. You know, when I think of what a man is, I think about my Uncle Tom. Like, my Uncle Tom was, you know, old school, grew up. My Uncle Tom couldn't read. My Uncle Tom couldn't do, you know, he couldn't read, he couldn't really write, right? But he cut down wood for the wood burner stove at the house. He had his own farm, grew, you know, had his own animals and stuff. That's what he did. Yeah. You know, that was his thing. He would take us to do stuff. I remember him picking us up at it was dark on a Saturday morning. Come on, boy, get in the back of this truck. Ride in the back of a pickup truck on the 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, going to cut down trees so we can have supply for the daggone winter. You know, and he would always be there for his family. He's like, family was always first. That's what it was. He's like, he's going to do what he can to take care of his family. That's what he does. That's the role model that I had, to be a man. Now, growing up, I couldn't emulate him because he lived on the farm. I lived in the trailer park. I didn't have all of this stuff. And I was raised by my grandma. My grandma taught me how to raise a household, you know? And then if you see that, you know, people would, if I go by the definition of what my Uncle Tom was, I wouldn't be considered a man because I ain't cut down trees. I ain't do all of that kind of stuff. I didn't work on cars and didn't do all of that. I was an academic, you know, and that's what I was pushed towards. But when it came down to it, all my friends know I was solid. I was the dude that they could come to if they needed something. I was trusted to raise my cousins and look after my cousins and my brother and everybody who was after me because I was responsible. Whenever something needed to get done, I was the one that was called to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Now, was that the same for you? Because you have a little different.
No, so what I was going to piggyback off of what you were saying is fatherhood is what you believe made that, but me not being able to be a father is what was my awakening, because I had to sit down for almost 8 years. And so when that was taken away from me and I'm living that pain of like seeing my kids and living through pictures and video visits and phone calls, that was what awakened my like true manhood to be like, hey bro, you got to live differently, bro.
Yeah.
You're selfish, bro. Like you're really moving foul, like, you know. And so it's a trip to hear that, like, obviously you having kids is what changed you, but then me not being able to be a father is what changed me when I already had it. I had that, and then when that was taken from me, it was like, oh man, this ain't it, bro.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, sitting down means time away.
Oh yeah,
prison.
Definitely.
For the square people that don't know street lingo. So you said you were away for how long?
7 years and 10 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you and I had talked, you had mentioned that coming out of that experience was difficult because you had to quickly get back into being a dad, like almost instantly.
Yeah. So I have an amazing support system with my mom and my sister and the mother of my son, and unfortunately the mother of my daughter passed away while I was in prison, and you know, and so that was tough. But reintegrating yourself into your kids' lives after being gone for so long, there's just certain things that, like, dynamics that they're just used to that you're just not a part of.
Right.
Like, I just didn't teach them that, so they know it differently than like how I could teach them. So like, you take a simple task as like tying your shoes, and I'm like bunny ears through the loophole, but they know it differently. It might be around the truck and through the, you know what I mean? It's just something different, right? And so like those things, like, and then too, if you take away reintegrating, right? They've looked at me like Disneyland dad. So when they come see me, it's like, of course we're in visiting, like let's go get cakes and candies and all this stuff. And so now when they come see me, it's like, Dad, we can get ice cream on a school night when we got to do homework and go to bed, you know what I mean? And so their mindset of associating with me has like been different. And so when you reintegrate and like try to establish like an authoritative figure, when there's been a village raising this kid and they've been disciplined 10 different ways from uncle, auntie, grandma, great grandma, you know what I mean? And now dad comes home and they're like, there's dad. But then they see dad as like...
But they know you as something different. I mean, they know you as dad, but they don't know the version of dad that you want to be in that moment because you haven't had a chance to physically be present.
Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't know this. I went to prison before my son was a month old. I've never spent a birthday with him until I got out. And so like my integration with him always has been in prison. So he knows nothing different than seeing me behind a wall, like sitting across from a table from me, barely being able to hug him, and like me might go get some Skittles and play with Tonka trucks and, you know, Transformers. And so like me, the fact that my family was able to like make sure that was cool is the only saving grace for like this time now. And so like he really only understands me in a certain way.
So knowing that your children were very small, obviously, when you went in, what were conversations like amongst the adults, you and the village that was helping raise your children? What was the conversation to explain where you were, why you were there, and what did you decide was age appropriate for them to comprehend?
When they were able to understand, I said that I never wanted to be able to feel that my kids said that I lied to them. So when they could understand, we had the conversation. And as fucked up as it was in visiting, the cries and the tears and all that stuff, we just had it out. And moving forward, we were just like, Dad did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
This is what it is. I'm going to be here for this time.
At the early ages of like, say maybe
She's 7 and he's 4.
Okay. So then,
Can I ask a question real quick? Because I'm really curious about this. So what's it like for you guys now?
So my daughter lives with me now.
Okay.
And everything is cool. Like, I mean, as cool as like obviously everything that can be. But we had a bond before I left, so it's different with her.
Right.
But
Right.
my son lives with his mom, and he comes over as frequently as he needs to. There's no court things involved. It's like an amazing co-parenting relationship. She's married,
Correct.
doing her thing, just same as you. Cool
Yeah.
situation. I'm cool with her
Right.
husband. So everything is cool like that, and the bond is still there. And like my family did an amazing job. They came and see me once a month, and like we had video calls and phone calls, and like everything was on the up and up. So in that regard, it was all good.
Right. So and that's one of the things, man. It's like, I love hearing that, because how many times do you hear, "Oh, my baby mama ain't shit," or "My baby daddy ain't shit," and both of us here talking about how well we co-parent, with
and that's
partners.
another thing about masculinity, and another thing about manhood is that because your baby mom or my baby mom got married, now we gotta feel some type of way,
Right.
and that ain't it.
It's not. That ain't even a thing. Like,
If she's happy, that's gonna be the best
that's what's
mom
important.
she can be. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I want, look, my thing is, like, I want her to be happy. And if it's not with me, okay. And I got my faults. I got my flaws. But, but the thing about it is, I can still, it's not going to affect how I treat my children, or how, when it comes down to what's best for them, what we're going to do to communicate to make that stuff happen.
So you both mentioned that you have really great, solid co-parenting relationships with your children's mom. Each of the moms have now found new partners, and that what was the conversations like when it came to working with the other man who's also a part of this co-parenting triangle for both of you, and the boundaries that are set, the expectations that you have. Maybe you would discipline something a different way. I understand the mom part. How is it in your masculinity co-parenting with another man?
So, for me, it's just like, I had this thing where I wanted to meet the person before they are around our children. Because it's just like, just because you think they're a good person, it's just like, all right, you might be a little skewed right now because of, this is a new person. Oh, I'm so smitten. I don't know this dude from Matter. And if I bring someone around the kids, I'm going to let you meet them first. That's a rule that I have. If I'm going to be around someone and have somebody around the kids, I want you to know who they are, so you can see for yourself that I'm not going to have them any kind of danger. So he and I, we met and we talked. And it was good because the way that I found out about him was kind of suspect. And I told him about it. He was like, I'd be mad too. He said, I'd be mad if I found out about me that way too. And so, but we talked about it, and we, they got married. He told me right then and there, so I'm going to marry her. I'm going to ask her to marry me. I was like, okay, that's wonderful. I've heard this before, but okay.
Damn.
But we sat and we talked, and it was cool. Whatever. Now I can't front. I was a little in the beginning, but because this is like I wasn't quite over it yet. It took a lot of my own therapy, my own work to get to this point. And they got married the day that I graduated from grad school.
Dang, you can't even have a day to shine.
It couldn't even have been about you that day.
Like, come on, man! I gotta share this.
Pretty.
So, but it took, some years and stuff for us to work through it. And like, he and I talk, I'm in his phone, he's in my phone, whatever we do stuff with the kids, is, hey, if you need some help with anything, let me know. Like, he knows that ultimately it's going to come down to she and I about what happens with them. Like, he has some input, but the final say comes to us. And it's just like, when it comes to as far as the discipline and stuff goes, I think all of us are on the same page when it comes to this. Like, we'll take stuff away. We'll discuss amongst ourselves about what we will and what we won't do. Ultimately, it comes down to what she and I want. and we have to be on the same page. And if one of us is like, hey, I need to hear your side, let me hear what you think, I don't agree, let's try to meet somewhere in the middle. And when it comes to him, he's like, yo, if I need to do something here that you're doing at your house, let me know. And I was like, okay, and if y'all are doing something over there that I'm doing different, let me know. Let's get on the same page. So when it comes to the discipline piece, or when it comes to the encouragement piece, all of us are doing the same thing.
And what about for you?
I'll just a quick thing on the discipline and just for example, like homework thing, like we're definitely dialed in. Like if she has something going on over there and like he's grounded, or like we have a bedtime at this time and we're on the same page as that. Now, his circumstances are a little bit different to mine.
Right.
So I'm behind the wall and I find this stuff out. So I'll meet Buddy through a video visit. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like at the time, like I'm in my personal growth stage, and I'm like understanding like, hey, look, what is there that I could like really, like, why would I be mad if he's gonna take on this responsibility and like do X, Y, and Z? Like this is just gonna be another asset in our village. At the same time, of course, I felt some type of way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
too.
You know what I mean? I felt like, you know, Jody when Snoop came home. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I thought he was gonna be like on some fuck your four type of shit. Like,
Fuck your four.
That's how I'm feeling. Like I'm feeling like, hey, you know what I mean? Like I'm behind the wall. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but he ended up being cool, and like to be honest, like all the conversations with me and him have never been anything weird. Like we all show up to games together, we have birthday parties together, and like all that stuff. And so it's all good. But it just, the circumstances behind, like, just like you, it was funny. It was funny when it all shaped out, because it kind of blindsided me too. And then all of a sudden, you know, baby, marriage, this, that, the third, and it's like, oh, damn.
Now, when you got out, since you said that your son was super duper young when you went in, right?
Yeah.
So essentially he kind of stepped in and played that role. So was it difficult for you to kind of regain that father role back?
No, because he always called him by his name, and then he always was like, dad.
Okay.
And there was no difference in the, like, if he was gonna just be dad, and then like I'm Drew or that. Yeah,
Snoop.
I wasn't gonna be Snoop, but no, there was never nothing like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like,
the same, just how it is over here.
Like the people in my life, like my mom and even the mother of my son and my sister and everything, spoke so much life into me, like as a father, and like the way that like they brought them to the institution to see me.
Right.
Like there was no confusion about like who I was versus who he was. You know what I mean? So.
And not everybody has that. So that's really dope that you guys both have a good co-parenting experience. Because we don't hear that a lot sometimes. And I know for another friend of ours, their the current husband, because the actual biological dad was out of the lives for a while, came back around, got his stuff together, and the current like husband is like feeling some kind of way because he had to step in, take care, be the dad while you were out fucking off, and then now you want to come back in and be daddy, and I got to respect that. And so they do butt heads a little bit, and so I feel like I see that more often than not. So hearing this is like a good thing, and I wonder if this is actually the more common thing that people just don't talk about.
No, I was just gonna say to you, speak to the fact that like this is something that like when you're secure with your manhood, like this whole topic and redefining manhood and masculinity, like we're able to be okay with the fact that the person that we might have had a relationship with, we might have loved at one point, we might have been engaged with, might have been married to at one point, moved on, right? And they're happy, but the best version of themselves is gonna make sure that they're the best mom for our kids. Yeah. And so like there's there's not a lot of guys that are be able to accept that and be like, I'll let her go do her thing, and they hold on to like a resentment, like they want to just still love her, and like it's weird.
Yeah. Well, that's it's that ego, and like how many of us aren't doing our work to actually get to that point, to actually get to that place, you know? And it's just like, you know, because you think about, you know, like let's be real. The shit that a lot of us have to deal with on a daily basis, right? We put so much thought into, maybe this biggest, baddest, toughest, no emotion filled dude in the damn planet ain't shit gonna affect me. I'm gonna get all this damn ass. I'm gonna have all this damn big ass car, this big ass house, and all of this shit, and you empty as hell. When you got no personality, you have no room for space for anyone or anything in your life other than you. You know, and it's just like, I got all this, this is what I got. Why you want this dude over here? Because he's a good father. He provides, he's there.
So
he's go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I'd be feeling like I'm cutting off because I'd be like want to jump in on that. You be talking right, you know what I'm saying? Like, are we ready? But I feel like what you described as like that big machoism is like what most people consider alpha male. And that bravado is like what is attractive to people, but it's really I find that a lot of women don't like that as a partner. Like they're attracted to it, but it's not what they're looking for. So is there a clear definition of what alpha male is versus beta male, sigma male?
I hate the fucking term. I hate the term because the dude who actually came up with it said it shouldn't be even damn a thing. Oh. So, and it's just like, it's all this shit's like, oh, I'm an alpha male. Of who? Where's your pack?
Right.
You know, where's your pack? That's a wolf, right? Ain't no where it's supposed to come from? From wolves?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So wolves are raised up in the pack. I heard Drew talking about, you know, he had a village, right? It's a village of people just helping, not just with you, but with your family.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Is there one leader or is it a whole village?
But in the pack, like when you speak about an alpha male, the true sense of it, when they speak about lions, the lioness is actually the leader of it all.
That's facts.
And so, like, as strong as that I am, like I need someone else. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So like the determination of an alpha male, this bravado and like this like strong standing, like it just is not. It's not reality. Like in the way that like the description of it like is depicted. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like people get a false sense of security. Like the alpha male is like, I got to stand up for this and I got to be strong and I got to have the most money and I got to do this and I got to have the most bitches. Like that is, man, that's so outdated. It's not even reality.
Man, say it again. Say it again for the
ones in the back.
Yeah, so why?
If you're,
this is, yeah.
If you're an alpha,
keep going.
You're taking care of your village and you're doing the things that are necessary for survival and also the betterment of like your community and like your actual family. Like the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest.
Ooh, I know that's very true. I know that's true. Right. No, I feel you on that.
So with talking about that, then are gender roles important to men and why?
As far as like if you make more money than me?
Or not even like gender roles, like the role you play in a relationship or the role that you play in society, like as a man, like typically, I don't know.
I guess it comes down to submissive and dominant. You know, like when we think about gender roles, people say that they want their wife soft and
pregnant
and barefoot pregnant, follows command without question. And so when we think of gender roles as providers, do you believe in traditional gender roles, or is it more about simple compatibility and equal partnership?
You want to go first? Or you want me to take it?
I feel like you got a strong. I feel like you got a strong way.
I don't believe in traditional gender roles because I wasn't raised in one. You know what I'm saying? I was taught to do everything. It's just so, you know. Drew said earlier. He said, you know, I would love to have some help. Help me. But just because, you know, just because I'm the man in the relationship, doesn't mean that
it's gotta change.
I like that voice.
Yeah, so I gotta make it applicable, right? But just because I'm the man in the relationship doesn't mean that I can't be supportive. Doesn't mean that I don't need your support. It doesn't mean that I have to, I gotta do all of this. I gotta go to work and provide, and that's all I gotta do. You gotta take care of everything else. Because sometimes everybody say like the marriage is like 50-50, right?
Man,
it's not.
It's never 50-50.
Never 50-50. Sometimes it's gonna be 20-80. Sometimes it's gonna be 60-40. And who's ever carrying that role is gonna change from day to day. So how can you have those gender roles in place when whoever might be the provider for that day might change based on circumstances? What happens if I lose my job? Right? Am I supposed to be the provider and I ain't got no money?
But right, so
But
she kind of has placed that on us that if you're a man, you got to be the provider. So, and we're talking about redefining manhood, right? So like,
But what I'm saying is, if you're comfortable, like if me and X got in a relationship, right, and she makes $120,000 a year, and I make $45,000 a year, and now we have this conversation that says, hey, look, I grind, I got this amount of money, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. There's not a problem with that.
Right.
If it means that I got to stay home some days and work part-time and I got to do the pickup and drop-offs and I got to take them to practice and do this and do that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Like, these are conversations you're with your person that all that masculinity, that shit's out the window.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the circumstance of your relationship.
Right.
Like, and so people putting it as like, oh man, that nigga's a bitch, or like whatever the circumstance is because he don't make enough money, he's sitting at home. But like, look, we're a team, and don't nobody know what we got going on. Don't nobody know about our game plan. Don't nobody need to know about what we got going on. As long as our union is cool, that's it.
Exactly.
So how do we change the views of that? Like, what you're saying is saying that society and media and how they portray men being the provider and all those things, there's not an accurate statement to what a successful relationship looks like. So how do we change that definition, or how do we provide that space to where we can make that the normal thing, the normal conversations?
Because the women that are in those circumstances got to speak up and say that I got a real man that's taking a backseat to me or whatever, to our family, not even to her, to like our union, and appreciate that. Like, you're never going to go on social media and say, like, I got a solid man that knows that I got an amazing career and that he's doing every single thing that I need him to do, and it's good.
So women need to speak up a little bit more in support of accepting that your provider doesn't have to be your financial provider. They can provide in other ways, and it needs to come from the women to explain that a little better.
Right. And not only that, though, is like, society ain't paying my damn bills. Society ain't in my house. Society don't know what the hell, we do from day by day to keep shit going.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You got a blended family, and you got one baby mom over here, and I got 2 kids from her, and now I'm married over here, and she makes more money than me, and we're trying to figure. Everybody's not involved in all those kind of things, and they don't understand like how good of a man you are to keep that together.
Yeah.
She might have kids over here and all that stuff. And so like those kind of things just like hinder like the actual like mind frame of like a good man.
Yep.
So knowing that each of you are absolutely on the same page of traditional gender roles just really aren't where it's at, what are things that women do that turn you off? What are your turn offs?
No.
I know, right? I feel like you got a whole story.
No. So this is one of the things about me. And I am trying to do better about it. It's something I've been working on. And just trying to not offend when I say stuff. Like, I'll stop myself because I'm trying to, like, nope, don't
think it through in your head before you say it.
Yep. All the damn time. So no, I don't know, man. I hate the.
We're gonna pass this to Drew. Go ahead.
We gonna give you a minute to let you talk.
I'm gonna come back. I got it. It's just like shit. It just don't sit right. You know, I don't like real ratchet. I don't like ratchet ass shit.
Hey, that's not offensive at all.
So like when I hear you say that, like my piggyback is that like, every girl wants a guy that's stable or that's together or that's like established or all those things. But if you say all those words in order, that doesn't say money.
Right.
Somebody might be emotionally established. Somebody might be emotionally like, and all those things, but people associate that with money. So now I'm not a good dude or I'm not your type and all those kind of things because I don't have a Maserati or I don't have like all those things. But at the end of the day, you want somebody that's emotionally connected, somebody that can actually connect with you and that's emotionally available for you. But you're advertising that, but you also are saying, if you don't got money, you're not for me.
Right. No, Leigh and I
and that is terrible to me.
We talked about this in a previous episode last season where we talked about usually most women are looking for stability. And stability does not necessarily mean financial stability. But they need to feel safe. They need to have a safe space. They need to feel like they can connect with you. And absolutely that goes beyond monetary value.
Right.
So no doubt. So, but the thing about it though, I think a big problem about that is like when you hear it, when you get that, you feel that sense of safety, you feel that sense of comfort around somebody. It's just like, I don't know, Drew, I don't know if you've experienced this or not. I've been told I make a lot of people feel safe. I make a lot of people feel comfortable.
That's your whole profession.
I was gonna say you
went to school for this.
I did, but this shit was happening before I did it.
Okay.
But at the same time though, it's just like that to a lot of people that leads to boring. That means I'm boring, or that means I don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize that, because if we go a certain place and it doesn't work, then that person is going to say this about me, or he's going to do this to me, because all these other dudes who have these masculine issues are fucking it up for everybody else who's actually trying to get into, trying to be in a relationship, who's actually trying to be with people. The horror stories that I hear from my homegirls about what these dudes be doing, I'm like,
well, if you've listened to our show,
I was sitting there cringing, like, damn, dudes still do that. What's wrong with y'all?
And they're guys stories.
I'll say, yeah, we're gonna get into mine later, but
what is wrong with y'all?
This is going in a whole nother direction. But I'm gonna tell you something. When I talk to people, they feel comfortable talking to me. But then, look, this is something totally off topic, but colorism comes into effect. You light skin.
You're the same,
and then it goes that direction.
Yeah.
Light skin, softer, like type of nigga, and like is what I mean. And I had that demeanor, and I got a softer voice, and those kind of things. So that also happens too. So I do get the aspect that like I do make people comfortable, but it also comes with the caveat like, oh, that's just
So
you got light skin energy.
Light skin energy. I got a lot of drink.
Oh my gosh.
Bars,
right.
I got so that.
But I want to ask. So you mentioned like being safe, right? So what does a safe space for a man look like from a woman?
Listening. Like, sometimes I just need you to listen. I don't need you to try to fix it. I need you to just listen and be present. And like, let me get what's off of my chest. Just because I think a lot of times, we need to talk about this right now. No, let me give me some space first. Because if I talk to you right now and I'm angry, I'm going to yell, and that's not going to do anything, because you're going to respond back with that same kind of energy. Let me cool off, and then I'll come back and talk to you. That's one way.
So what he's saying is that like when a man has a problem, sometimes emotionally we're not like equipped to deal with it in the emotional moment. And so if you ask me if something's wrong, all of my anger and all of my tension, every single thing that's going on with me is going to lash out at you. Right?
Yep.
So what we're asking is that, like, you understand that something's visibly wrong with me. Give me the time. And a lot of people and a lot of women are like, you don't want to talk to me.
Yep. That's right now.
Give me the space to just like cool out, and then collectively like come to you in a way that I can like articulate what I'm actually trying to say without you feeling like you're going to be defensive for how aggressive I'm going to sound like. And
Right.
that's the problem, is that like when men talk about problems in the heat of the moment, it sounds like it's directed at you.
Yep.
And women don't understand that, like, I'm not trying to direct this at you. This is something that
Yep.
I'm feeling. And like, I need a moment to like just separate myself from you.
Yep.
I know you're trying to support me. I get that. But I need just a second for me,
Yeah.
so I can process this, and then like I can deliver actually what I'm actually trying to say to you, so that you can actually help me.
Yep.
Because
So let me add, you'll let on.
no, you're good.
No, I was going to add on to that, man. It's just like, because, we have this tendency to deal with stuff by not dealing with it. And what we'll do is like, we'll continue to push stuff down, pile stuff up on top of it, push it down, pile some more stuff on top of it, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to have emotions, right? We're not supposed to have feelings. We're not supposed to let anything bother us, but we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, right? So the thing about it is just like, and I talk about this in sessions. If you take a soda that you drink, you shake that can of soda up and you open it up, what's gonna happen?
Explosion.
It's gonna explode on you, right?
Yeah.
Now what happens if you take that same can of soda, you open it up in a group of people?
It gets all over everyone
Yes,
around it.
Everybody, right? That's how anger works. That's how our frustrations work. That's how all this stuff builds up, especially when it comes to men, because we don't have that space to do it. So when you're fussing at us, or if we have an issue and people wonder why, somebody might come in and say, "Hey, Blaise, how you doing?" I might be like, "Get up my face, before I slap the shit out you."
That's intense.
Right?
That should be for them.
That's not right, but that's not, like, the thing about it is a lot of times we're not angry at you. We're angry at something that happened yesterday, something happened last week, something happened last month, something happened last year. And so a lot of men aren't allowed that space to actually do that kind of stuff, because a lot of times what happens is if you do try to talk about something, it's minimized.
Hey, let me say something real fast.
Yeah.
So here's another thing too. So if I come to you like in a way that I'm like trying to express the fact that I have a problem, and you even interject, don't feel the same energy, now I stuff that, right? And so now the next time that I have it, I don't even come to you now.
Nope.
Now I go totally somewhere different, and
Yep.
all my energy is directed. So now there's a disconnect between how me and you process each
Yep.
other's problems. So
Yep.
now there's a bigger space. So now I got problems over here, you got problems
Yep.
way over here, and so now if we actually do come to a head, just like he's saying that can of soda, now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere, on everybody.
Interesting.
And so that's the thing. So, one of the things that I have caught myself doing is like, if I'm finding myself getting, upset, I take some really deep breaths, and before I do it. And I kind of like let everything fall, because a lot of times what we'll do, we'll walk around with so much tension, like our shoulders are up here, or walk around like with the Ice Cube scowl, or working on their own too long shit, trying to talk.
Not the ice.
And a lot of times, but like, that's the thing though. So, but if we just allow that.
When either of you start meeting someone new that you're interested in, and you're aware of your communication styles, do you ever talk to your significant about the best form of communication for you? Because while I'm sitting here listening to each of you talk about what works best for you, from my own experience, unfortunately, I haven't had the same type of energy of how the guy wants to communicate with me. It's more, I don't want the breath. I want to talk about this now. I don't want to process. And where I'm the one that's saying, let's chill for a second. Let's get our thoughts together. There's no need to tear each other apart because we're having a difference of opinion. but that wasn't his energy. So I recognize how he likes to argue, and I'm hearing how the two of you process disagreements. Do you talk to your partner about your style of communication when you don't agree on something? Or do you just let them figure it out and get to know you?
No, I think it's more of just of a learning process. Obviously, when you're in the throes of like a new relationship, like everything's like we're on cloud nine, we're on Disneyland.
Oh yeah,
we're you know what I mean. And so when it actually comes to those things, then you see some triggers of that person, and you're like, okay, and then you understand, okay, you know what I mean. And then now we move forward, and the next time that happens, then you're saying like, hey, look. Now we have the conversation. Like, I understand that this triggered that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've told me that your past relationships are X, Y, and Z. So let's not bring that toxicness into this, and don't hold me accountable for that, because I'm trying to be something different. So let's understand the difference between that situation and like what I'm trying to explain to you, you know, and vice versa. So you can explain every single thing that you want to do to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But until the actual situation is happening, you can't even like understand like how that reaction is going to be, or how you can actually like talk to that person in that moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
No,
Most people think that they heal from something that happened to them
Until you get triggered.
until you get triggered. And then now you're like,
yeah.
I just put a Band-Aid on a shotgun wound.
No doubt. Yeah, it's like they need stitches.
That toxicity from previous relationships, right? So we hear a lot about toxic masculinity. So what do you think toxic masculinity is, or is it a thing, or is it an overused phrase?
Damn near everything is becoming an overused phrase. Anything that's all these things are hot buzzwords. You know, and people just throw them around like, oh, everybody's doing this, everybody's doing that. But as far as toxic masculinity goes, it's just like dudes have to be this big, strong, you know, masculine type. Do what the hell I say. No emotions. Women are beneath me. Sit down. Shut the fuck up. I'm in charge. That's toxic masculinity, in my opinion. So, and I think there's a lot of dudes who do that, and they are subtle with it, but then some are really blatant about the shit. Like really blatant about the shit. And people make it okay because they're just telling it like it is.
I just think that those kind of messages are just the people that are the most insecure about like their circumstances. You guys understand, like, being gone for as long as I was, trying to like stay dialed into my kids and my family, like that toxic masculinity was everywhere, right? So I got one foot in the door, one foot out the door. I'm talking to my kids, or I'm leaving a visit in-person visiting, and they're crying. I'm crying too. You know what I'm saying? So like that washed all that away from me. But then you see other dudes that's walking like super hard from the visit when their kids are crying. I'm like, bro, what are we even talking about, bro? Like this, like if you can't show that emotion, like to me, that is a weakness to me.
Mm.
Like to be emotionally present with whether it's your girl, your kids, your mom, you're at a funeral, like whatever it is, that's weakness to me.
Yeah.
Right.
So the fact that toxic masculinity makes it so that you can't cry, or you can't be emotional, or you can't be vulnerable, or you can't have a teacup party with your daughter, or you can't have cupcake Tuesdays with your girl, like all them.
Yeah,
that's weak to me.
Yeah.
Is there such thing as toxic femininity
Because we definitely don't hear that buzz
at all?
much.
It's almost like women.
If you're trying to be too independent and you got to stand on something, and like I don't need a man, but I want a good man, and like that type of shit, that's like it's the same
in a way.
Yeah. So, but it is like you get told to act like a lady and all that kind of stuff too. Is just like, oh,
like a man.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff too. Is just like, okay, Like, all this is dumb. And I think what Drew says is like, I think it was made by really insecure ass people. And so, they're speaking really loudly, which also shows that they may not be the best people to actually listen to when it comes to shit. Just because you speak loud and talk loud don't mean that you should be damn listened to and heard.
Well, now I believe you have some products and books. Can you tell us a little bit about how we can, if we want to dive into more conversation with you, how we can reach you, what we can find about you?
Yes. You could go to my website, www.thedopeblacktherapists.com. You can see who I am, what I'm about. You can also find out about my book, Becoming the Dope Black Therapist, which is a memoir of sorts.
I love it. Drew, where can people find you if they're interested in connecting?
I'm on Facebook at just Drew Dukeshire, Instagram at _Drew_Duke. Also, I have Northwest Waste Removal, who's a company that I'm doing throughout Northeast Portland and the greater Washington area, removing waste and junk.
Which you just started, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
What's up, dude?
Licensed and bonded and all that stuff. I'm also training out at the Nike campus. So there's just a plethora of things, but I'm just thankful for the opportunity for Leah and Nicole to come talk about something that was near and dear to my heart, for real.
We got to do this again. But Nick B, where can they find you?
So I can be found on all Dirty Roses podcast platforms, may that be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. You can find me there. And if you want to reach me personally in direct, on my Instagram page, Nick B _Nick B, and that's Nick with a K, and Miss Leigh LaRie, where can we find you?
Y'all can find me everywhere. Leigh LaRie on every single social media platform. It's LEIGHLARIE. And of course, DirtyRosesPodcast.com, where you can catch up on all of our seasons. You can hear what we've got going on so far for season 3. Leave us some feedback. Let us know how it's going for you. And you catch us next time.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guess what, Rose Buddies? We are thrilled to introduce our new sponsorship packages. Be sure to hit us up at DirtyRosesPodcast.com to inquire how we can showcase your brand on our platforms.